Mom strong-armed me. Dad prepped the shotgun wedding to some geriatric creep. Naturally, I bolted, blew the whistle on the whole twisted circus. Now, years later, she's suddenly all sweetness and light, begging me to play happy families because she's conveniently sick. Newsflash, family, in my world meant selling off daughters the second they hit puberty. 12, 13, 14, didn't matter. Blood equaled bride material for some fossil 3 times your age. I'd marinated in this madness my whole life, so it didn't really click until I was 11 and saw my cousin Mayim pawned off to a 43-year-old geezer 3 days after her first period. His last 2 wives had conveniently kicked the bucket before turning 20. Kidney failure, they mumbled. That was the night I swore off food. Not because of some bogus body image issue, but because the string bean sisters in my family always seemed to menstruate last. Desperate times, desperate measures, right? Turns out, your body actually needs, like, fat to start puberty, lol. The other girls nicknamed me Skeleton, but who cared? They were already promised to guys who had kids old enough to drive. Didn't mean they stopped wife-proofing me, though. Every Friday, from 1 a.m. to 10 a.m., I was a silent, unpaid waitress for the male relatives. Eye contact or a peep. 10 lashes with the belt. Forced to handle scorching pots barehanded to toughen up my delicate digits for kitchen duty. And every night, Mom slathered skin bleaching cream on my face so I could be beautiful. Other than the secret starvation, I was Miss Perfect Daughter. Played the part flawlessly, always gushing about baby fever. But then, bam. At 15, still period-free, I stumbled onto something that flipped the script. We were in the good old USA the whole time, by the way. Mom had brainwashed us into believing this was all perfectly normal, and any girl who didn't play along was destined to die alone, ugly, and useless. Then a teacher, bless her rebellious soul, practically frog-marched me into a meeting because I dared to wear a t-shirt and she noticed my disappearing act. While she was powdering her nose, she forgot to lock her desk drawer. Inside, books about marriage laws, pamphlets screaming your rights as a teenager and when culture becomes crime. Jaw dropped. It was the first time the idea that marriage under 18 was, like, wrong, had ever infiltrated my brain. No cultural get-out-of-jail-free cards, no parental consent loopholes. I pocketed the skinniest pamphlet, ninja style. Over the next few weeks, under the cover of darkness, I memorized that thing. CPS numbers, shelter addresses, the magic words that would trigger a mandatory report. Teachers, counselors, doctors, mandated reporters, baby. So, I started a wife skills group in my uncle's tool shed. 6 younger cousins, all pre-period panic, desperate to dodge their fates. I turned them into legal eagles. Which teachers were mandated reporters, how to say the code words, and we practiced in whispers. They're forcing me to marry. I'm only 13. Please help. Then, at 15, my body pulled a Benedict Arnold. The blood arrived during morning food prep, turning my pristine white dress into a crime scene. Mom's shriek of joy summoned every female in the house. They were practically high-fiving, kissed my cheeks, told me I was lucky. By nightfall, Dad had already picked out my groom. Hamid Habibi, a construction kingpin who'd already buried 2 wives by age 23. Kidney failure, the death certificates claimed. The women whispered it was from too many pregnancies, too young. 2 days later, my cousin Anna, a Shed Squad member, also got her period. Boom. Instant wife material for a 51-year-old trophy husband collector with 8 kids older than her. I watched the lights go out in her eyes as they haggled over her bride price like she was livestock. That night, I slipped her my notebook. Every shelter number, every legal loophole, every escape route I'd committed to memory. Tomorrow, I whispered, tell the science teacher. Use the exact words I taught you. Her hands shook as she grabbed it. What about you? My wedding's not for 2 weeks. I'll figure it out, I lied, voice trembling. Wrong. That night, a knock. CPS. Dad's face went from confused to furious as they grilled him about Anya, underage brides, forced marriages. They wanted to chat with all the girls under 18. The second they left, the family circled like vultures. Someone had been feeding the girls lies, poisoning their innocent minds with Western garbage. They tore the house apart, hunting for the culprit. My journal was unearthed in the tool shed within an hour, crammed with phone numbers and legal statutes. Dad burned it in front of everyone while calling me diseased, contaminated, and my personal favorite, a cancer that needed to be cut out. Weddings tomorrow, he announced, before she corrupts anyone else. Dawn arrived way too fast. In an hour, they'd be stuffing me into red and gold to hand me over to a guy who'd already offed 2 girls. My stomach did gymnastics as footsteps echoed toward my door. I grabbed the plastic bag I'd stashed days ago, essentials only. A change of clothes, shelter addresses, the $20 I'd pilfered from Mom's purse, $1 at a time. The doorknob turned. I clutched my stomach, doubled over, and let out a groan that wasn't entirely fake. Mom barged in, already decked out in her wedding finery. Get up, she barked. The cleric arrives in 30 minutes. I groaned louder, hands clamped to my abdomen. Mama, something's wrong. My stomach, she frowned, approaching cautiously. A sick bride is bad luck. What did you eat? Nothing, I gasped, stumbling toward the door. I need the bathroom. Now. She grabbed my arm. You went 20 minutes ago. Please, I begged, tears streaming down my face. Fear made it easy. It hurts so bad. She released me, disgusted. 5 minutes. The aunties are waiting. I stumbled down the hall, clutching the hidden bag under my baggy nightgown. Inside the bathroom, I locked the door and jumped onto the toilet. The ceiling tile I'd loosened weeks ago shifted easily. I shoved the bag inside, then faked some convincing toilet noises. 3 minutes ticked by. I flushed, ran water, then groaned again. Mama, I can't stop my stomach. Her fist pounded the door. Open this door. I can't, I cried, back on the toilet. The small window above it had been painted shut years ago, but I'd been working on it with a butter knife swiped from the kitchen. Please, just another minute. More pounding. Multiple voices now. My aunts had joined the party. I pushed the window frame with every ounce of strength. The paint cracked, then gave way. Cool morning air rushed in. The opening was tiny, ventilation only, but months of starvation had made me small enough. She's taking too long. Dad's voice boomed. Break it down. I grabbed my bag and shoved it through the window first. Then I pulled myself up, shoulders scraping. The door shook as bodies slammed against it. My hips stuck. I bit my tongue, twisting sideways. The lock splintered just as my legs cleared the window. I dropped 6 feet onto wet grass. Ankle twisted, but didn't break. Behind me, shouts erupted from the bathroom. I ran barefoot, nightgown flapping. Across our backyard, into the neighbors. Dogs barked. Motion lights flickered. I kept running. Our neighborhood was a carbon copy maze filled with people from our community. Any of them would happily return me. I cut through the Hassan's yard, past the Mahmoud's pool, around the Sal's garden shed. A car engine roared to life behind me, then another. They'd mobilized fast. I ducked behind the Abdullah's garbage bins as headlights swept past. My cousin Omar's voice carried. Check every street. She couldn't have gone far. The main road was 3 blocks away. The bus stop, 4. I'd memorized this route a million times in my head, but never barefoot. Never with my heart trying to escape my chest. I darted between houses, using parked cars as cover. My feet left bloody footprints on the concrete. A piece of glass embedded itself in my heel, but I couldn't stop. There. My cousin Kareem's shout came from the left. A car screeched around the corner. I dove through Mrs. Chen's rose bushes, thorns tearing at my nightgown and skin. She wasn't from our community. Maybe she wouldn't recognize me. I limped across her backyard, into the alley behind. The bus stop came into view just as the morning bus pulled up. I burst from between buildings, waving frantically. The driver, an older black woman, took one look at my bloody feet and ripped nightgown and threw open the door. I climbed the steps and froze. No money. Panic had erased the $20. Please, I whispered. I just need to get downtown. I'll pay you back. I promise. An elderly woman stood up, pressing exact change into the machine. Sit down, child, she said softly. No questions, just guided me to the seat beside her and handed me tissues. The bus pulled away just as Omar's car skidded into the parking lot. I ducked below the window, but not before seeing his face twisted with rage. The woman beside me shifted slightly, blocking me from view. We rode in silence until downtown, where she pressed a $10 bill into my hand before getting off. Whatever you're running from, she whispered. Don't go back. The courthouse was a massive building I'd only seen from car windows. I limped through the metal detectors, leaving bloody footprints on the marble floor. Security guards exchanged glances, but didn't stop me. The family court clerk, a middle-aged woman with kind eyes, took one look and came around the counter. Honey, do you need medical attention? Emergency protective order. I gasped out the words. I'm 15. They're forcing me to marry today, please. She guided me to a chair and brought forms. Where are you staying? We need an address. I recited the shelter address, praying they'd have space. My phone, forgotten in my bag, started ringing. Mom, then Dad, then Omar, then numbers I didn't recognize. The voicemails piled up. I knew what they'd say. Dishonor, shame, curse, cancer. The clerk helped me fill out the paperwork, her face growing grimmer. Previous wives dead at 23. Kidney failure from too many pregnancies. Forced marriage ceremony scheduled for today. Wait here, she said, disappearing. She returned with a judge who read my petition right there in the lobby. Granted, he said. Emergency order effective immediately. The full hearing will be in 2 weeks. I clutched the paper and limped back outside. The shelter was 12 blocks away. I made it 3 before remembering they might be full. The call confirmed my fear. Completely full, the voice said. Waitlist for Thursday. Thursday. 3 days away. Nowhere to go. Then I remembered Ms. Rodriguez, my teacher. The one who'd shown me those pamphlets. The one who'd forgotten to lock her drawer. Maybe she hadn't forgotten at all. 3 buses and 2 hours later, I stood outside Jefferson High School. Saturday meant it should be empty, but her car was in the parking lot. I found her in her classroom, red pen in hand. She looked up and dropped the pen. Oh my God. She was around the desk in seconds, taking in my bloody feet, torn nightgown, the protective order. Sit. Don't move. She returned with the school nurse's kit and began cleaning my feet. Only then did I start crying. Real tears this time. They were going to make me marry him today, I sobbed. He killed 2 wives already. I got the order, but the shelter's full, and I have nowhere to go, and they're looking for me. She pulled out her phone. CPS emergency line. But the voice on the other end wasn't encouraging. 15. We need more evidence of immediate danger. A protective order based on claims isn't enough. Has she been physically harmed? Ms. Rodriguez's face darkened. She has glass in her feet. She's covered in cuts. Self-inflicted during escape doesn't count. We need evidence of abuse from the family. My phone rang again. This time, Ms. Rodriguez answered. Hello? Her face went pale. Mr. Habibi? No, your daughter isn't here. What? No, she's... I heard my father's voice. Calm. Reasonable. His business voice. The one he used to convince people he was a respectable man. She's sick, he was saying. Mental problems. She needs her medication. We're very worried. Ms. Rodriguez hung up. How did he know you were here? My phone. They're tracking my location. Delete everything, she said. Factory reset now. As I wiped my phone, she made more calls. CPS supervisors, social workers, legal aid. Each one said the same thing. Without immediate physical danger or better evidence, our hands are tied. Then we heard car doors slamming in the parking lot. Ms. Rodriguez locked the classroom door and pulled the blinds. Stay quiet. Footsteps echoed in the hallway. Male voices speaking in Arabic, then English. We know she's here, my father called out. Her phone showed this location. She's sick. She needs help. They tried the doorknob. Knocked politely at first, then harder. I'm calling 911, Ms. Rodriguez whispered, but I grabbed her hand. Wait, let me try something first. I rolled up my sleeves, showing her the circular scars from the pot training, the bruises from this morning's struggle. Then, I lifted my nightgown enough to show the belt marks across my back. Her hands shook as she took photos. Why didn't you show anyone before? I thought it was normal, I whispered. Until I read your pamphlets. She called 911. Multiple men trying to break into my classroom. I have a student with me who's in danger. Please hurry. The pounding intensified. Then my uncle's voice. We have her medication. She's bipolar, schizophrenic. She makes up stories. Check the parking lot cameras. I told Ms. Rodriguez urgently. I came alone. If they have medication, they brought it with them. She called the school security office. The guard, Mr. Williams, said he was pulling up the footage. Police sirens wailed. The pounding stopped. Footsteps retreated. By the time officers arrived, my father had transformed. Gone was the angry man beating down doors. In his place, a concerned parent in an expensive suit holding prescription bottles with my name on them. Thank God you're here, he told the officers. My daughter is very sick. She has delusions. Makes up terrible stories. The officers separated us. One stayed with me and Ms. Rodriguez while two spoke with my father and uncles in the hallway. She's never been on medication, Ms. Rodriguez insisted. I've been her teacher for 2 years. Look at these injuries. The officer looked at my feet. The cuts, the bruises could be self-inflicted, he said slowly. If she was having an episode, check when those prescriptions were filled, I said suddenly. If I'm so sick, why am I not in the system? Why no doctor visits, no therapy? Ms. Rodriguez pulled out her laptop. I have essays, she wrote. Months of them, about family traditions, cultural expectations. They document everything subtly. She'd kept them. Every essay where I'd hidden truths between the lines. Traditional cooking lessons, when I meant burning my hands. Preparing for marriage, when I meant beatings for making eye contact. The officer read them, frowning. Meanwhile, Mr. Williams arrived with security footage. It showed my father and uncles arriving with the prescriptions in hand. Anya, I said suddenly. Call Anna Mansour. She made a report yesterday. She knows everything. But when Ms. Rodriguez searched, she found Anna's family had moved out of state that very morning. No forwarding address. Phone disconnected. My father must have sensed the shift, because his facade cracked. He began speaking rapidly in Arabic to my uncles, gesturing angrily. What's he saying? The officer asked. He's telling them to call the family lawyer, I translated, and something about the dowry being non-refundable. That was his mistake. The officer's expression hardened. Sir, what dowry? My father's face went still. I misspoke. My English. Your English seemed fine 5 minutes ago, the officer noted. The next hour blurred. More police arrived. A CPS supervisor, someone from the DA's office. My father alternated between threats and pleas. My uncles invoked religious freedom and parental rights. But the evidence was mounting. The essays, the injuries, the fake prescriptions, the security footage, the protective order. She's a minor who's made credible allegations of abuse and forced marriage, the CPS supervisor declared. We're placing her in emergency protective custody. My father erupted. He lunged toward me, screaming about dishonor and curses. 2 officers restrained him while he spat threats about what happened to girls who betrayed their families. Ms. Rodriguez held my hand as they led him away. The placement coordinator arrived within 20 minutes. A tired woman named Margaret, who'd clearly been pulled from her weekend. She took one look at my feet and called for medical transport. We need to get those cuts cleaned, she said, helping me into a wheelchair. The glass needs to come out before infection sets in. The ER was chaos. Saturday afternoon meant sports injuries and accidents filled every bed. A nurse triaged me quickly, noting the glass and cuts. As she worked, Margaret made phone calls. Yes, I understand you're full, she said into her phone. This is an emergency removal cultural marriage situation. No, she can't go to regular foster care. Yes, she needs specialized placement. Each call ended the same way. No beds, no space, no availability for high-risk cultural cases. Ms. Rodriguez paced. There has to be somewhere. What about safe houses? All full, Margaret sighed. Weekend placements are always difficult, in cases like this. She lowered her voice. Families often try to retrieve the girls. We need somewhere secure. The doctor arrived to remove the glass, injecting anesthetic. I bit my lip, more from fear than pain. Every minute without placement was another minute my family had to find me. Wait, Ms. Rodriguez said suddenly. I know someone, a retired nurse who used to work with the district. She's done emergency placements before. Margaret perked up. Is she certified? Ms. Rodriguez stepped outside, returning with a small smile. Theodora Whitman. She's certified and has experience with cultural transition cases. She can take her tonight. Relief washed over me as Margaret began the paperwork. The doctor finished bandaging my feet, prescribing antibiotics. As we prepared to leave, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. You have dishonored us all. This is not over. I showed it to Margaret, who documented it. We'll need to change your number, and you'll need to be careful about social media. They might track you. The ride to Theodora's took 40 minutes, winding through unfamiliar neighborhoods. A mess. She was young, maybe 25, wearing a hijab and walking with a slight limp. Your Honor, the CPS worker said. This witness has information relevant to the case. My father went rigid. My mother gasped. The woman took the stand, stating her name as Fatima Habibi. I was Hamad Habibi's first wife, she said quietly. I didn't die. The courtroom erupted. My father's lawyer objected frantically while my family whispered. I was 15 when I married him, Fatima continued. By 20, I'd had 4 children and my kidneys were failing. My family told everyone I died, but a nurse helped me escape. I've been in hiding for 5 years. She looked at me. When I saw the Facebook posts about you, I knew I had to come forward. I couldn't let him do to another girl what he did to me. Her testimony was devastating. The pregnancies forced too close together. The beatings when she couldn't conceive fast enough. The way her family had known but prioritized reputation over her life. That's what awaits girls who try to escape, death or erasure. My father's lawyer tried to discredit her, but she'd brought medical records, photos of her injuries, documentation of her kidney damage, even photos of the fake grave her family had created. When the judge ruled, his decision was clear. The protective order would be permanent. My parents would have no contact. Any violation would result in criminal charges. My father stood as we prepared to leave. You are no daughter of mine, he said in Arabic. You are dead to us. Sit down, sir, the judge warned. But my mother was standing too, removing her hijab in a gesture of rejection. We have no daughter, she announced. She died today. The walk out of that courtroom felt like walking through fire. Family members turned their backs. Some spat at the ground, others muttered curses. But Fatima caught my arm. You're not alone, she whispered. There are more of us than they want to admit. Outside, Theodora waited with the car running. As we drove away, I saw my family gathering, my father gesturing angrily while on his phone. It's not over, Patricia warned. They'll try other tactics. Stay vigilant. She was right. Within days, the harassment evolved. My old social media accounts were hacked and reactivated with posts about mental illness. Photos were edited to look unstable and shared. Community businesses refused Theodora service. We don't want trouble, one shop owner told her. Your foster girl, her family is powerful. Then came the lawyers, civil lawsuits for defamation, for emotional distress, for alienation of affection. Each one baseless but expensive. They're trying to bankrupt us into submission, Patricia explained. A common tactic. But the worst came through other girls. Videos appeared online, cousins and family friends describing how I'd corrupted them. Each testimony crafted to paint me as a predator. She told us our parents wanted to sell us, one cousin said. Made us afraid of our own families. I recognized the coaching, the fear. These were girls I tried to save now being used as weapons. Theodora increased security after we found footprints in the garden. The police couldn't prove anything, but we knew someone had been watching. Maybe you should consider witness protection, Margaret suggested. But I thought of Fatima, of all the other girls trapped. No, I decided. I stay. I fight. I show them it's possible. The next challenge came from an unexpected source. A woman appeared, claiming to be from a cultural mediation service. We specialize in family reconciliation. Perhaps we could arrange a supervised meeting. Theodora shut the door, but the woman left pamphlets about the tragedy of cultural disconnection. Similar approaches followed. A therapist, a religious leader, even a distant relative. Each attempt was documented and rejected, but they were wearing us down. Then Patricia called with unexpected news. Anna wants to meet with you. My heart leaped, then sank. Is it a trap? I don't know. She contacted me through her own lawyer. Says she has information you need to hear. The meeting was arranged at Patricia's office. When Anna walked in, I barely recognized her. She'd lost weight. Her eyes were dull. They made me come back, she whispered. Said they'd hurt my little sister if I didn't. Anya, I'm so sorry. Listen, she interrupted. There's something you need to know. They're planning something. I heard my father talking. They've given up on getting you back. That's good. No. Her eyes filled with tears. Now they want to make an example of you to show other girls what happens when you betray the family. What do you mean? I don't know exactly, but I heard them mention your new school and something about sending a message that everyone will understand. My blood went cold. When? Soon. Maybe this week. I'm sorry. I don't know more. They don't trust me now. She gripped my hands. Be careful. Change everything. Don't follow patterns. They've been watching, learning your routines. Security escorted her out, but not before she pressed a piece of paper into my palm. An address. Other girls, she mouthed. Help them. That night, Theodora and I made plans. I would take a few days off school, vary my schedule, never be alone. But we underestimated their determination. Wednesday morning, I was in the kitchen when Theodora's alarm triggered. Not the perimeter, the window in my bedroom. Lock yourself in the bathroom, Theodora commanded, already on the phone with 911. I ran, hearing glass breaking, male voices shouting in Arabic. Not my father or uncles. Hired men. They were searching, calling my name, promising they just wanted to talk. Police are 3 minutes out, Theodora called. Hold on. The doorknob rattled, then pounding. They'd found me. Come out, girl. Don't make this harder. Your family misses you. I pressed myself against the wall, looking for anything to defend myself with. A can of hairspray, scissors. The door frame began to splinter. Then sirens. Beautiful sirens. The pounding stopped, footsteps running. By the time police entered, the men were gone. We need to move you tonight, Margaret said. This placement is compromised. As I packed, I thought about Anna's warning, about the address, about all the girls trapped. I want to do something first, I told Theodora. Before we go, I need to make a call. I dialed Ms. Rodriguez's number. Remember those pamphlets? I think it's time we made more. A lot more. Because they could move me, threaten me, hunt me, but they couldn't silence the knowledge I'd spread. Every girl who learned her rights was a victory. The war wasn't over. But as we drove away, I knew I'd already won the battle. I'd proven it was possible to say no, to choose differently, to survive, and that message would spread. The new safe house was 40 miles away, an apartment above a retired police officer's garage. Theodora Whitman. She's certified for emergency placement and has experience with cultural transition cases. She can take her tonight. Relief flooded through me as Margaret began the paperwork. The doctor finished bandaging my feet, prescribing antibiotics to prevent infection. As we prepared to leave, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. You have dishonored us all. This is not over. I showed it to Margaret, who documented it immediately. We'll need to change your number, and you'll need to be careful about social media. Anyway, they might track you. The ride to Theodora's house took 40 minutes, winding through unfamiliar